Yay. Okay, we're live.
Hi.
I don't know if we'll be able to read any of the comments, but...
Okay, hopefully. I mean, yeah, and then how do we get to them?
All right, let's see.
Okay, it's all good.
It's good.
So, don't mind us. We can't reach you to comment you.
Yeah, we'll come back and...
yeah, we'll go back through.
Okay. So I guess we'll just talk to each other, because if we're looking, we're like...
Yeah, we're going to be distracted.
Yay! Okay, so this is the second Saturday Art Walk at the Rock-Roth building, and this is interesting times. So it's kind of canceled, or it's for sure canceled.
It's for sure canceled, yes.
And I don't feel like everything needs to be on hold, right? There's ways that we can go to you guys, and normally I was gonna do like a tour, but there's the few gals here. Crystal from Vintage Fairy Finds is not feeling well, and then Tamara actually has some work that she's been commissioned to do. So of course,
nice.
Do that first. She does
work.
Refinishing furniture. So so you got us.
It's just us.
Yay.
I'm Heather. I'm from the Grounding Space, so I do have a space. I'm like kind of all over the place. With my grounding space is not so grounded. I'm here in Pomona, and I am also at the Healing Touch Studio in Upland. And I'm putting my sweater on because now I'm really cold. This building is old and cold.
And I'm Rosie. This is one of the studios here at the Mystic Rose, and I'm a newbie. I'm the baby here, right? How long have you been here?
3 or 4 years. I've lost track. Yeah, it's been, I think I came 2016, maybe 2015.
Okay.
2016, 2015, something like 2016, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like when you started, when you came here, you were doing the sound healing mostly?
I was doing sound and photography.
Okay. And you still do those things?
Yes.
And it's evolved into...
It's evolved.
Everything else. Whatever's needed?
Yes. Well, I've been practicing energy work. Well, I've been certified in energy work for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
In pranic healing and Reiki level 2. This is before Reiki was a thing, like back in the day.
Yeah.
When you were a weirdo if you did it.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody knew how to say it.
Yeah, and nobody, Reiki, Reka, Waka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of interesting that, I mean, now if you say energy healing, automatically it's like, oh, Reiki. You know, it's kind of become like the Kleenex of tissue.
The Starbucks.
Right? Yeah,
It's
Starbucks.
like the Starbucks of energy work.
Thank you. I was going to say something else, but yeah. Not knocking Reiki, of course.
Yeah, no.
Like, that's a beautiful way to use energy. What else? What are
Herbalism. I'm certified yoga instructor, aerial yoga. I haven't quite branched out. I do this thing where I collect certificates and degrees, and then I sit with them.
Me too.
And I just like to sit with that information for a while and let it, I don't know, percolate.
Yeah.
And figure out how I want to execute that. But with everything going on, I will be doing donation yoga at Open Door.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping aerial yoga as well, because that's truly my passion. And
That's perfect.
Out of all the yogas, so yeah.
I think we both agree that this is a time to share our gifts and to open it up as when possible for donation for those times, so that it's more accessible to people and they don't have to stress about one more thing, right? This is a time where we know that we can give that support and we can offer those things.
Yes.
At the same time, we want to make sure that we're also taken care of, because if we can't pay our bills, then we can no longer offer these things, right? I think it's like the certification thing, collecting all that really, like, that hits home to me. But the new podcast that I'm launching next week, this is kind of a preview of what that's going to be like, called Following the Threads, is really that, like, sometimes things don't look like they're together, you know, that they're going to piece together. But because they're all part of you and what is interesting to you, you find a way to piece them together. right?
Yeah, my life is so insanely eclectic. And the loaded question is, what do you do? And it's always like, oh, God. Like, do you have 20 minutes?
Yeah.
It's like how, but I think really through my yoga training and at Open Door with Gypsy, Jahanazar, she was really great at making us write a biography and a mission statement.
Okay.
And it really forced me to rein it in and articulate what I do. And the common thread was I give people a safe space to explore who they are.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's with photography, regardless if it's in sound, regardless if it's with the herbalism work that I do, tuning into their senses and their body and identifying what they need, and building, like, connecting with things that they didn't even know that they were able to connect with. So in every modality, there's that common thread. And then to complicate it, you've got 2 decades of working with kids with special needs in a one-on-one setting and working with the families and being an advocate for kids with special needs, going in and doing 504s and IEP meetings and all of that as well. So it's like that community component has been the common denominator in everything I do. So it all intersects beautifully.
Yeah. I love that, because that's what I know my gift is to help people to see, well, I see potential in everything, every single thing, and especially in people, and to help them see that their gifts that they have, the intuition, like, it's not what you do, like the titles, because I think we get hung up on that, or at least here in first world countries, like, we get hung up on what do you do, like your title is everything, right? And then that, for those of us who have more intuitive based like things, or that we've done so many different things because we're just called to serve, right? It's hard to, like, well, what is valuable to you if I say I do this or that? Like, then it starts, like, the ego starts kind of coming into play with that, right? But it's who you are showing up to all those things. So like, strip all that away, like you hold space for people, and you use your intuition to help them feel safe.
And that's what I did
and
with
that's
the kids.
It. Like, bottom line, no matter
everything.
What you do, you could work at Starbucks and still do that. You would still be able to help give somebody that, like, make them feel good for that day, you know, even in that short exchange. Like, I'm sure you do it in the line at the shopping store. You know what I mean? Like, at the market. Maybe not right now.
No, I just did it. Yes. Remember that story I was sharing with you? This poor woman, I mean, was just distraught trying to make hand sanitizer, and there was nothing left. And I mean, to her, that was really critical. That was something that meant something to her for whatever reason. That was her safety net. And I mean, it doesn't, like, in my logical mind, with, you know, my background, one of my degrees, it's like, okay, but you're creating super germs, whatever. But the human part of me is like, it's like, this isn't the time or place. Her cortisol levels are through the roof. She needs to feel some sort of comfort. And if wiping something on her hands is going to lower her stress levels, that's going to keep her immune system up. So I shared with her some links from NBC News, out of all places, that, you know, so they're not going to be liable or sued. They're not going to publish something that they don't want to be sued for, right?
But you gave her something to ground to, so that if she went home and said, I didn't get it there, but NBC News, a girl shared with me NBC News, rather than this girl shared with me this recipe, and then everyone's like, you're not making that, that's kooky, or whatever, you know, like,
exactly. And that was it was the most random thing, because I don't watch the news like that, and it was like, came up, and I was like, okay, so this is like a source that I can hand out without people questioning it, or the liability, or whatever, for whatever reason. For people that are cusping or not quite there, or are in a frenzied state, to them that's credible. Like, for me, that means nothing, but to them it means something.
Yeah, and that's all that really matters, right? Like, you know, what means safety to us and to the person that's in front of us that we possibly can help, like, to be able to be, you know, tap into our intuitive gifts, right? And feel like this person needs this, then it's okay, as long as it's not misinformation or guiding them. So you were saying that some of your degrees, so what are some of your degree backgrounds?
I have a degree in art, in studio art. I'm taking my shoes off because I want to sit cross-legged. In studio art, and I have a degree in environmental analysis from Pitzer College.
Wow. And then the environmental analysis you've married with herbalism.
Yes.
So that's amazing, because I think like we can get degrees or just feel like that's the way, and then it might have been a foundation, or it might have been what we thought was the way because it made sense at the time, or people are pushing us to, you have to have a degree.
Right.
And then later, when we really can kind of relax and really mature into ourselves, right? And not worry about what other people think.
Well, it's funny because I got my degree later in life. So I was part of what's called the NRS program, the New Resource Students at Pitzer College.
Okay.
And it's really competitive, really hard to get in. It's like a fraction. They have like 900 students and they only take certain amount. But social responsibility is a huge component at this college. So they're very rooted in the community. And because of all the work I was already doing in the community, and that I performed well in the junior college, they were like, okay, yes, you're accepted. And then, of course, I couldn't just get one degree. I had to get two because I needed to validate that artist side of me. It was like, if it's on paper, it's legitimate, but ridiculous because that experience wasn't really what I thought it would be. But my emphasis in environmental analysis was on food and agriculture, how people engage with the environment, and I did a lot of studies on bees. So when I'm looking at plants, I look at it through a more critical lens. When I'm looking at things, it's just a different lens.
Yeah. So you're seeing the macro effect as well, not just like this is in front of me.
Yeah, and I was urban homesteading over a decade ago. I think 2015, not a decade ago, like 2014, 2013. Right around there, we started urban farming, ripping out the lawn, and my house has been pesticide free for 17 years, and it's hard to keep up with it.
Right. And I think like for myself, I know these are things that now I'm like, why didn't I just start when I wanted to? Why didn't I just do these things? But it's obviously never too late to do
never
one
too
little
late.
thing. So what advice would you give to somebody who, knows that this eventually will pass, whatever that means? Like, we are no longer going to be able to go back to how we were, because we've kind of become aware of what really is important to us, what are necessities. Yeah. But I think as we go through this, we're really going to see, like when I was at the store, I thought, we can live without toilet paper, really, realistically. Like, it's not going to be comfortable because the way we are now, but what do we need? We need food. Like, so buying organic seeds, like, I was like, okay, I don't ever want to feel vulnerable again.
I was the weirdo in the neighborhood that was trying to get everyone to convert their lawns like mine, and I was trying to explain to them monoculture and biodiversity. Yeah. Let's I'll plant this in my yard and you can plant this in your yard, and then we can share. And everyone was just like, no, and it is honestly, it is overwhelming, and I think we have 1,000 square feet in the front yard. And we have raised beds, and the rest is gravel, but it can be an eyesore. Right. But I also am like, it's good to be an eyesore. People need to understand what...
They're not weeds. They're not
these weeds are beneficial. Right. I'm harvesting my dandelion. Yeah. That's my root. That's medicine. Right. It's so... Educating the community, and it's been a huge educational component, and my professor at the time thought I was crazy. This was actually one of my independent study projects, and she was like, you're going to get ripped off, and sure enough, someone stole a cabbage. the first thing, and I was so bad because I was ready to harvest it. It was gone the next day, but it was just like, you know what, if someone needs that cabbage, then let them take it. Right. And then so we got, we put the fence around, and that just sort of established, it's still an open, there's no gate. Yeah. So you can still walk in. Right. But it sort of, and it's you know, that rebar, not the rebar, the concrete square.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is. It's very open and airy, and it's
Yeah.
not enclosed. You can see everything that's going on, and we haven't had theft since.
Yeah. But we need, like, I will say, we needed you and those that are like you that have been doing this for this long to teach those of
And
us.
I would say start
you know
small.
What I mean? Yeah.
Like start small. Just pick an area, pull the weeds, don't use anything on it, and just start small. And see what you do with that, so you don't get discouraged.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is
That's a good
if you do too much, it can be so overwhelming that it just, you're setting yourself up for failure. So I would say start small.
With what? What would you plant? What would, like, something that maybe is going to grow easy?
Potatoes are great.
Okay.
But I mean, with potatoes, you have to stack them. There's like a method to that madness. And I think you can plant them 2 times a year, if I'm not mistaken, possibly 3 in our climate.
Okay.
Easy. Oh, zucchini.
Okay.
Zucchini is like foolproof.
Okay.
Like literally seed in the ground.
Right.
Couple seeds.
Okay.
You're good.
So that will help to get somebody to feel confident, and then they'll see the.
Yeah, that's instant gratification.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
and we're coming up on zucchini season. So like I would say like I like to plant like April, May zucchini, and then again like another seedling.
Yeah.
So like it keeps going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to go to your house
Oh yeah.
and to have you just do
Yeah.
like weekly even like
Tutorials.
Tutorials.
Right now my garden is like herbs,
But
and
it
then
doesn't matter.
a box
Like,
full of
yeah,
nasturtium.
and that'll be good.
And
like,
rue and whatever.
To show that what real life, it's not always going to look pretty. So that way, those of us that are like, I've got to start something, we can know that it's okay if it kind of gets overgrown. Life happens. Just what are tips, like, however you do it, you know, and going to.
And finding people. This is the other challenge. Because of my epilepsy, I can't be out in the heat.
Mm-hmm.
Like heat is a trigger for me.
Yeah.
So in the summer months, it's really challenging. And then when I'm busy in winter months, when we have a lot of rain, when I have a lot of work, it's challenging to keep up with. Because right now it's crazy town. And finding people to work in your yard and do it in a way that's respecting the land and the earth is very challenging.
Maybe you need an apprentice.
Yeah, an apprentice, or I mean, I've been lucky. Like I'm finding horticulture people at Mount Sac are the best, or people at Cal Poly that are doing the agriculture program. They're awesome, but they don't stay. So that's the situation.
But even if it's just to help somebody, if anybody would like to be an apprentice, looks like you have a lot of.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh! Hey, hi! I don't know who's out there, but hi! That's awesome.
So yeah, just I think again like that I know. This is a time where
and chickens. People are starting to look into chickens.
Yes.
I have a lot of chickens are not easy. Backyard chickens. They're easy until they get sick, and when they get sick, the vet bills can. I recommend Dr. McDowell in Claremont.
Yeah.
She's like the best. I've gone, and there's not a lot of poultry vets. So depending on how connected you are with your animals, my animals are my life.
Right.
So I will. Fly strike is a thing, and that's when flies will lay eggs on your hen, and they will eat your hen, and you will have to dig maggots out of your live bird.
Yeah.
So I've done that twice.
Right.
Yeah,
so it's not
going
just
into
something
it,
to like, oh, that sounds great, and then it's all just going to happen by itself. This is getting back to what our grandparents did, or maybe even our parents did, and getting back to that. I feel like Earth is calling us back.
Oh, 100%.
And we have to remember, and it's remembering, right? Becoming a member back to being Earthlings. Like the Muppets had it right. We are all Earthlings, you know? And getting our hands back in the soil, and she will talk to us, and yes, we're going to make mistakes, but she's a loving mother, and she's going to help us along, and we have others like you that will guide us and help us, and not be irresponsible and just like that looks cool, I'm going to do this, gung-ho, pay for it, and then think that that's
it's just going to maintain.
That's what, like, there
not
has to be a decision. If this is something that you want to start learning to do, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be rewarding.
Oh, yeah, it can be incredibly rewarding. I look back at the photos when I first started in the backyard, and then eventually took over the front yard because the backyard's shaded, and I was just like, I need more of that. So, and it's cute because my youngest always says, if I get rich, I'm gonna buy you a farm. So they all say, like, Mom gets a farm.
Right, totally.
But yeah, there's just, and also I think it's really important to look at where we live. And I'm a huge advocate for California native plants.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And sort of creating these corridors, because that's critical. The chaparral is a very delicate ecosystem, mostly because of the human impact, right? So I think planting natives,
I love that.
if you can.
Yeah.
And natives are not, I mean, people think, oh, drought tolerant natives, they're picky. They're very particular because people tend to overwater, they over everything with natives. And then, you know, it's hard to replicate that exact environment where they're most happy. So if you plant one, I took a workshop recently in Calabasas. It's like, oh, and the person giving the workshop was like, hey, if, you know, don't give up. If you plant it in one area and it doesn't work, try a different area. And it's just that simple. And, you know, 2 feet away, the plant could completely thrive. So
don't give
up.
And
don't give up on the California natives.
Yeah.
Don't do it. And sage, like, plant your own sage. Yeah, white
we've
sage.
had conversations about this, and it's. I think, like, it's easy to get upset about a lot of this, but let's just, okay, we all know better, or maybe not, but this is the whole point of this, is to teach you
exactly.
that if we can just use what we need.
I've been able to coerce a few people to plant native white sage.
And it's exciting.
It's so exciting when you get to do your first
meal,
harvest,
right?
Yes.
Like, you're just like, oh my God, I made this. This is my baby.
And I think my sage is like 4 feet wide and 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it's just, and what's special about my sage is that when I co-founded a vocational training program, horticulture, nursery basics vocational training program at Rancho Santa Ana Botanic Garden, my job was to work with the kids, and I had done my internship there, so I was familiar with the practices of uppotting and cuttings and whatnot. But Antonio Sanchez was the guru. He hates when I say that, but he really was the native plant guru.
Yeah.
And he was the one that taught me so much about the plants. And so the kids actually propagated. My kids propagated my plant that's in my yard. So it's incredibly special to know that when I offer this, that like you're actually getting something from kids with disabilities that propagated this. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome.
I think maybe time to do more stuff like that, right? Like for all of us, like find something that we used to do or we're good at, or maybe something that we are often asked. That's how I feel. Like, what is it that you're often asked? Are you often asked for advice for whatever it is, right? Or if somebody has like, oh, this is an article, let me ask Heather. Like, for all of you, like, this is a time where.
And then I'm like, because my process is so, I do possess, like, I sometimes I kind of surprise myself. I'm like, oh, I actually really do know stuff. And there is, it's like, oh, I actually can, like, talk. I can talk forever about bees. Crystal will tell you. I mean, she was, like, schooling people in Trader Joe's about bees. It was hilarious. And I was doing work on clothianidin and neonicotinoids and colony collapse disorder before it was ever a thing. Like, there was so much denial in the U.S. And I was just, and my professor was like, well, there's really not data. I'm like, no, there is. And digging and digging and digging and pulling it and extrapolating it. And then come to find out, like there was, and now it's this thing, and now systemics or clethianidin has been banned from the market, phased out. But like this when people ask me, there's a lot of times I'm like, I don't know, I'm a plant whisperer. I just have such a different relationship with plants.
But isn't that important? Isn't that enough?
You know, yeah, it is, because that's what my plant mentor from Hood Herbalism was. She asked me, Bede asked me, like, well, what direction are you going?
Yeah.
Like, where are you? Like, you really need to get clear. Are you going this route or are you going this route? Because I'm an information gatherer and I want that fact and I want that data.
Yeah.
But when it really boils down to it, like, it's also intuitive.
Right.
Everything I do is just so intuitive. So
Yeah.
how do you teach that?
Right. But I think you will teach others who also, like, people who will come to you, either need that, or at least when they hear you talking, it makes sense. You know, somebody who maybe, well, we're all intuitive, right? You know, we all have that.
Yeah.
It's just at what are we intuitive about?
Right.
You know, like
Sure.
somebody can be super great at like reading people, and they are salesmen that can sell anybody anything, right? And like they might use it in a different aspect, right? It's like that choice. So you having that gift, I think you're going to call out to people who also hear your language and the way you speak. Yeah. And they're gonna have.
I'm gonna connect with all you weirdo plant whisperers.
Exactly. Like, do you sing to your plant? Do you actually like? You know, like,
I have videos
like
of dance parties, and
like,
I send them to my closest friends. They get videos of me having dance parties with my plants.
Exactly.
So it's like a situation.
So if you, those listening, watching, if you find that you are talking to your plant, if you haven't watered her for a while, that you apologize or maybe even cry, or you know, these things,
or offer tobacco in the middle of the night.
Yeah, you know, so
creeping out there with a light.
Like, you're not alone. These people do this, you know. And
no, you're not alone, or maybe you are. I don't know, but I got you.
Right. So Heather's the one that you're gonna feel most. That she's gonna be able to teach you more about how to develop that, right? I mean, even if you don't have to, like, I know that that's the thing, like, I'm not an expert at, but you can at least share how you do it. Exactly. Yeah. And then from there, that's the invitation for the person to find their experience. And I think that's really what this is all about, is not taking the person's power away by saying, it's my way, this is how you do it, right? But like, this is how I connect. So let me explain that, so that maybe something will like, I do that too, but I do it this way. Great. Because sometimes, I mean, I know I'm in conversation with people and they are sharing how they might tap into spirit, and I'm like, oh my God, I do that, but I never thought that's what it was, or whatever.
Right.
Like, you know, and so we're all learning from each other. There's no real, there's one expert, and that's yourself, the expert of yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like that's been my hang up with teaching. It's like, people ask me all the time, and I'm just like, well, I don't even know how to go about that, or big groups give me anxiety, or, I mean, I have a million and one excuses as to why. Yeah. But I think really what it is the plants have taught me a lot, and I think most of all to stay humble, you know, so it's like and I feel like there's so much more to still learn. Like, I learn something literally every single day. Yeah. So it's like, I always feel like, do I have enough to offer, or is there enough to teach?
Because there's somebody like me that's just starting.
Yeah.
So if anything, if you feel like you can teach me something, then there's plenty of people out there that can teach. So I know that this like whole experience right now is like a rally cry. It really is. It's like a call to arms, but the arms is actually linking arms. Yeah. You know, and it's getting those of us who are in community and respect each other to actually help each other, but help everybody else to find a safe space that they can have resources that they can possibly trust, you know? And So I'm calling you out.
You're calling me out.
I'm linking your arm. So if any of you would like to see Heather do more videos or tutorials or even interviews or just topics, then I want to start like this whole space. There's so many people here in the Inland Empire that have so much to offer, and we kind of hide in our little corners, and a lot of us are introverts, and or we just have to guard our energy, and that's okay. Now we can be in an intimate place here, but we can share it to more people.
And I think it's interesting too that there's something really powerful with the plants when I do the floral clearings. People connect. The smells, the different textures of the plants, the process of either bearing or releasing, like whichever resonates with them, it kind of calls them back and brings them back to center. So that's been a beautiful experience too, to support people with reconnecting.
Yeah, it is really important. That's absolutely what we need right now, is to reconnect somehow.
And to know that those plants are from my garden, everything that I harvest. So I'm tending to those plants. I'm not to take away from other people that don't have
no, but you built
the privilege to be able to do what I do, but I do have a very intimate relationship with my plants.
Yeah,
very
so
intimate.
I know you have a lot to share. We have a lot to teach. We have a lot to
Plant intimacy
101. So any other last tips for anything? Like we talked about a bunch of stuff. So like homemade stuff, recipes. I know that's
on my stories I've just been unrolling a really good resource is Hood Herbalism, My Roots. It's super grounded in community. So that's what that's all about. And they're unrolling things on the regular, daily, on how to stay supported using the plants. And then I will continue to post my recipes. I'm just at the thought of transparency. I'm not worried about people stealing anything that I make, because for me the plants are for everyone, and I say that in moderation, not just taking and commodifying and just capitalizing on everything. I mean, yes, I need to make a living, but it's like if you and I have the same recipe, right, and we make the same thing, it's likely going to be different.
Oh, for sure.
100%, right? And that's how I feel about herbalism, because we all have our own medicine that we bring to the table, and we all have our own process. And so I'm very transparent. I label everything because you need to, with everybody with allergies. I'm transparent about my process. So,
So where can everyone find you?
They can find me at The Grounding Space.
On Instagram?
On Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm off Facebook right now. I went on Facebook hiatus, and I haven't been able to bring myself back, but I think I'll reconnect at some point. It's just one less account for me to manage, since I am also at Heather Bejar, which is Bejar, for my photography. So I've got 2 different pages that I manage, and sometimes I'm just on and posting and off. So
okay. Yeah. What if they don't? What if they're not on Instagram?
You can, I do. You can reach me at Heather Bejar, so Heather, and then Bejar, Bejar @gmail. So that was like the least complicated email I've ever possessed in my entire life.
Right. It's not like the one that you had when you were 14.
Well, the one I had, funny enough, the one that I had when I, in 2000, or 99, 2000 was
Earthling?
J&H Yarrow, which is a California native. So it was like this, predictive, little nugget, because I was obsessed with yarrow. Yeah, that was my first one.
I bet we can pull that thread back and we'll
all the way,
all the way since you were smelling flowers and
and then even my name is a plant, so it's just kind of comical. Awesome. So that's where you could reach me.
Yay!
Yeah,
thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll do this again.
Thanks for opening this space up.
Yeah,
we're trying to keep the Arts Colony alive.
Yeah. Well, just any small business, right?
Yeah. So some suggestions I've seen floating around. If you're autoimmune, if you have recently recovered from chemo, if you're just nervous, do not feel guilty if you're not comfortable eating out. But if you're still employed and that was in your budget, some things you could do are buy gift cards to your favorite restaurant.
Okay.
You know, that's like one of the things that I thought was pretty genius. Like, just go ahead and gift cards. If you're not comfortable going out to support local businesses, you can do that. You and I have talked about donations. Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. Go ahead. What's
Me?
your idea?
Yeah. Well, we were just talking earlier about donations and this idea of just being in a space to receive. I was super blessed today with like an abundance of money. I did not go in expecting this at all. And I think when we freak out, especially when we don't have government funding coming in to support us, right? Like if we're unemployed and we're self-employed, there is this hustle mentality that can come into play. But also, when you open it up for donation, give the community a chance. You might be surprised. Like there may be somebody that's okay and pretty stable, and they're gonna offset the people that can't. And today I actually walked out with more than if I would have charged.
Yeah, I think it's gone back to what we value, we will give.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're just being aware of like, okay, maybe I don't need to do that. I don't need to buy that many Starbucks drinks, you know, and I'd rather support this because this is actually helping me and I want that person to grow. So I think people are just becoming more conscious and aware.
It's just prioritizing, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So support your small business, support your artist. Yeah. And
artists, don't be afraid to do donation. I mean, try it.
Yeah.
Try it. You might be super surprised.
Right.
Or people that are in the work that we do. Well, I hate saying like healer because I'm not a healer. I just hold space and I'm a conduit.
Yeah, frequency keeper.
Frequency, I love that. I'm a frequency keeper.
Yeah, because you're holding.
Yeah, I'm just holding that.
They do the healing.
And yeah, if that's that's your journey, then I'm just supporting you on your journey. So like, people that do this work, don't be afraid.
Right.
Try the donation. Yeah. Reach out to the community. We need it.
And that's why I'm creating this. Where it's bringing community together, even if it's just interviewing once a week and having kind of like a TV, like a station to go to and to find different community members. But if you're not in this area, then reach out to others that you respect and that you would want to work with. So.
And I think we can start generating a list for people out of area too.
For sure.
More live streaming if you're feeling like you want services like this via
different platforms.
Different platforms. I thought whatever this thing is.
I mean, we're trying it out, right? I know that this is not the time to just like hide. At least for me.
No,
absolutely not.
Like, I mean, we were talking about this. Like, it's like she's had all this equipment, and now it's like,
like forget about having to have that extra equipment that's supposed to be perfect, and maybe I'm not ready yet.
Just connect. And same for me with the yoga, like holding back, and it's like, no, I'm gonna offer one-on-one for people that are feeling nervous about even small groups. Okay, well then, I'm autoimmune myself, so I don't want to put myself in a situation. If I'm not feeling well, I'm certainly not going to see you. So there's that safety net too. And that will be coming up. I don't know what that looks like, but stay tuned because that's coming up and that'll be donation based.
Perfect.
Yay.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys. Please leave comments if you like this or if you have any ideas of what you would like to see, who you'd like to see, or what you would like to learn from Heather.
Thanks, guys.
Okay,
bye.
Finish.